A violent event has just occurred. Someone has vanished, leaving behind nothing but scattered debris and a shattered window. We have exactly 14 lines of text to piece together the evidence. The sonnet serves as a restrictive, high-pressure narrative machine. While often associated with the past, the form's rigid meter and limited space force a poet to compress an entire psychological thriller into a single breath. Our first case study comes from the early 20th century poet, Edwin Arlington Robinson. His poem, How Annandale Went Out, investigates a mercy killing through the eyes of the perpetrator. Over a century later, modern poet Michael E. Cantrall wrote a direct Gothic response titled How He Went Out, expanding on Robinson's fascination with tragic departures. These two poems approach a sudden disappearance from opposite ends of the room. One is a calculated confession of murder. The other investigates an empty, terrifying space left in the wake of tragedy. Treating these rigid poetic structures as active investigations reveals the hidden mechanics of how literature engineers psychological suspense. In Robinson's poem, the departure is a calculated act of human agency. The speaker is a physician, a trusted friend who stands beside a deathbed, maintaining absolute control over the room, the patient, and the outcome. The speaker identifies himself through conflicting titles: liar, physician, hypocrite, and friend, establishing moral ambiguity immediately. He operates through narrative compression, omitting explicit details to force the reader to infer the hidden trauma. Leaving out the clinical history makes the final act feel sudden, inevitable. The instrument used is described only as a slight kind of engine, an antique hypodermic syringe. The method is quiet, measured, and entirely clinical. The doctor justifies his actions by stripping the victim of his humanity. He describes his dying friend, Annandale, as a ruined wreck and an apparatus not for me to mend. The true horror emerges from the cold, complicit human rationality used to justify taking a life. Cantrall's How He Went Out shifts the perspective entirely. Here, the narrator is a third-person investigator, stepping into a vacant space where human control has completely dissolved. In place of a sterile medical bedside, the investigator finds a chaotic room, a crimson toolbox standing upright, and a shattered window casement on the upper floor. An enigmatic, dark force watched the scene from the shadows before fleeing out into the terrifying night. This diagram maps Cantrall's rhyme scheme. Over 14 lines, the poem cycles endlessly through a repetitive A and B structure of door, floor, more, and light, flight, right, night. This circling musicality traps the reader, mimicking an investigator unable to escape the room. Removing the killer's psychological justifications forces the audience to confront the terrifying, unexplained physical remnants of violence. A traditional sonnet utilizes a bipartite structure, a rigid two-part division that forces the poet to resolve their mystery within a strict word count. This constraint drives both distinct mysteries to reach sharp, highly pressurized endings. Robinson ends his poem with a cynical, closed defense, directed squarely at a jury. You wouldn't hang me? I thought not. The physician demands our complicity. Cantrall's ending stands in stark contrast, functioning as an open-ended prayer to the void for understanding. A legion of questions still hides from the light. May answers arrive in dreams in the night. This focus on physical remnants connects back to Robinson's metaphor of the house, where a decaying physical space is used to reflect a lost soul. The ultimate power of a sonnet thrives in the compressed, chilling vacuum of missing information that the reader's imagination is forced to fill.